Welcome to Silent Service. My name is Will. On Silent Service, we uncover the quiet, meaningful ideas that run through faith, business, and life. Today, you are in for a real treat. I can't think of a better guest to share this time with than my dear friend. He is a brother, a fiance, a competitive athlete, a sharp analyst at JP Morgan, and most importantly, he's a loyal friend. Born in Dallas, trained in Winter Park, Florida, and now navigating life in the Big Apple, that's New York City, in case you didn't know. Zane Williams, that is someone whose humility, discipline, and kindness speak louder than any resume. Zane, welcome to Silent Service.
Thank you, Will. Wow, what an intro. Has anyone ever told you you should do commentating or announcing or something? I feel like that would be a good calling for you when you retire one day.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I am so blessed to have this podcast because I've always wanted to do some kind of radio podcast, something like that. It's always been a dream, so it's nice to share the platform with you today, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here. And I guess for the listener, I am one of you. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. So very happy, very blessed, very humbled to be here. So thanks, Will.
Yeah, of course. You told me while we were in Arizona for your bachelor party a couple weeks ago that you occasionally listen to Silent Service at work, and that was shocking to me because I didn't even realize people listen to podcasts at work. I was like, huh, maybe I should try that. But
No, man. We can get into this in the episode, but I work in a very intense environment, and silent service actually helps calm me down. It's a great thing to listen to. You and Matt have a lot of great wisdom you both share, so definitely worth the listen for those of you out there.
yeah, yeah, and Matt is excited to meet you, Zane. I mentioned to you this to you off air, but he's with his kids today, enjoying the time that he has left before they head back to school. But you'll get a chance to meet with him in the future, so do not worry about that whatsoever.
Can't wait. Matt, if you're listening, hope you're doing well. Can't wait to meet you one day.
Yeah, of course. And before we hopped on, you were sharing that JP Morgan does something interesting. They give you, the analyst or the group of analysts, two days off. I'm sure there are a few more than that, but it is an incredibly rigorous company to work for. But you have the Christmas day off, and then you have one day where you guys just take a back seat and go enjoy the outdoors. What is today called again?
Yeah, so today was called our summer outing. There are
Summer outing.
two big days that we mainly get off. And for the listener who may not be familiar, I am an investment banking analyst at JP Morgan. And I met Will through grad school. Will and I both went to Rollins, like Matt as well. And Will and I were in similar friend groups throughout school and then got super close throughout grad school. And he's actually now one of the groomsmen in my wedding coming up. So looking forward to that. But to answer your question, Will, there are 2 days that we mainly celebrate, take a break from our work, and that is our holiday party, which is around Christmas. Our group within the bank is spread out across a ton of different areas like LA, Dallas, Houston, Miami, California, all over the United States. Everyone will fly into New York and we'll go to dinner. We'll go out to rooftops. Today was a summer outing, and we went and played pickleball in Central Park, or we tried rather, but we got rained out. Unfortunately, it's been kind of pouring all day, on and off here in the city. But all that being said, today is a great day to do this with the pause in our work. So super happy, super humbled, and super honored to be here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Zane, you are an extremely modest, humble, and kind person. One of the kindest person, if not the kindest person I've ever met in my entire life. And I just want to give the listener some context here. When we were in Arizona a few weeks ago, we were going around and sharing some stories with each other about you and your fiance, Skylar. I didn't get past the ball or whatever we were passing around, so I didn't get a chance to share my story. And it was real short, but I think it'll offer a good lens as to who you are for the listener. I'll never forget. It was like the second year of Rollins that I was there. I didn't know you at the time, or maybe I had met you in passing real briefly, but just had forgotten that you and I had been previously acquainted. And so somebody said, you remind me a lot of Zane Williams. Do you know him? Have you met him? And I was like, I don't think so. But he was like, this person was like, Zane's seriously kind. And this person was like, you are too. I think you guys would get along really well. And then I started to get to know you. And I started to think, all my entire life, people have come up to me and been like, why are you so nice? Like, is there, an angle here? Are you trying to get something out of me? And the answer's always been no. And I always felt alone in that. And then I met you, and I was like, I am not alone. Somebody else gets it. Like, they don't, and people pleasing is not the best thing, but we don't want anything from anybody. We just, want to make other people happy. And that's who you are, bro.
For sure. And thank you. Well, you definitely inspire me when it comes to being kind to people, no doubt. But I do personally think I don't see it as people pleasing. I always think you never truly know what someone's going through. And I think God calls us to be kind to all people because we're all his children. And so treating everyone with the same level of respect, regardless of their status, where they work, what kind of lifestyle they're living, whatever it may be, that's something that I don't think I don't think is good. I think we all should treat everybody the same, regardless of where they come from. And that's something that I'm very thankful to have learned from you, Will, from my family who's instilled it from me, and my beautiful and amazing fiance, Skylar, which if you're listening, I love you very much, Skylar.
Yeah, hi Skylar. I'm so excited to see you next month in just a couple of short weeks on beautiful Sea Island, which leads beautifully into this first segment I'd love to talk to you about, saying on marriage. I mean, you are going to be my first friend, close friend, to get married. Like, you know, I don't
It's
want to put
crazy,
you on the
man.
spot here, but how are you feel? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Give us some
I'm
details.
I'm feeling good, but I can't believe I'm gonna do this to you, Will. But should we go over MEPS first?
Oh my
Did we forget to do
gosh.
MEPS?
We forgot to do maps. See,
I've
Zane's an OG here,
been
of
listening
course.
to so many episodes now. I know you guys always start with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, forgive me, Zane. I actually got a little nervous having a good friend on here. Normally it's Matt and I'm used to it, or it's Dr. Kroll, but having you here made me nervous. So let's jump
oh,
into
come
some
on,
maps.
man.
I even wrote them down. I'm not kidding you, and I just forgot about them.
Well, I think iron sharpens iron, and I hope I can provide value however I can. But please feel free to share. I'm curious to see how you're doing today.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So mentally, I'm feeling focused. Emotionally, I'm feeling a little bit drained. Um, Truth be told, a little bit drained. I was telling you before we hit record, I was just having one of those days earlier before we hopped on where, I'm locked in, 10 hours at the office enjoying myself. But then the end of the day comes around and I'm just like, what did I actually do? Seems like it just
Mm,
got blurry for me, and it was just one of those days. So a little drained from that, but that's okay. Physically feeling strong. Had a chance to lift some weights this morning, so grateful for that. And spiritually, I'm feeling saved, brother. I'm feeling saved.
awesome. Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
great, man.
what about yourself?
Oh, mentally, I'm feeling pretty clear-headed, which is something I can't say a lot for this job. You go through periods where many different people want many different things from you all at once, and it gets very stressful. But something about being here with you, talking about life, our goals, our aspirations, everything like that, it's definitely peaceful. And I think having sort of half the day off from work is definitely helping with that too. Emotionally, I'm feeling great. My beautiful and amazing fiance moved in not too long ago. So it's been incredible having her here. It's been awesome on my emotional state. It just gets tough with work and being busy in the city. We try to plan at least one date night a week. And that definitely helps with our emotions for sure. Physically, you know, feeling like I'm slacking a little bit. I haven't had a lot of time to get good exercise in. It gets tough with work. And it gets tough with like trying to plan around the wedding and stuff. But I
Yeah.
realize these aren't things that are valid excuses. So it's kind of on me to make it what I want it, whether that's doing like stuff here in my apartment or like making time for the gym. But one of the beauties about New York is you can pretty much walk anywhere you want, and that's great exercise too if you walk for an hour or two a day. And sometimes that's what it might have to be with scheduling, but um, physically overall feeling good right now, but feeling like I can do better. I think that's always the goal is to want to do better. And then spiritually feeling very blessed to be here to hopefully add value to hear from you and from Matt eventually. Um, Hearing all the wisdom you guys share on this podcast is awesome. It's truly inspiring and just feel blessed that God has given me you as a friend and a groomsman now, and that our paths crossed. And I think we have very similar aspirations and goals. So just feeling blessed to be here.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much for sharing. I personally couldn't imagine getting married this year, and that's another reason why I look up to you. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal the fact that you're working as hard as you are, and you're planning and have been planning this wedding for a long time now. And I couldn't help but notice as I was taking a look at a few wedding components, registry website, all that good stuff. There was a question on there that said, "What's the best marriage advice you've heard?" And I'm wondering whose idea was it to put on there? Like that was very insightful, very smart. Like, was that your idea, Skylar's?
I'm 90% sure it was Skylar's idea. I think she saw it on Pinterest or something.
Yeah,
But honestly, like what a great idea
yeah.
for a newly married couple, especially someone like Skylar or I who's young, we're early in our careers. We need all the advice we can get.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, there's a guy. You probably heard me share his name, but Brad Jacobs. He in his book How to Make a Few Billion Dollars. He talks about one element of or one piece of advice that he loved. And there's a chance I may decide to say something at the wedding. I don't really know yet. I saw in the group chat that there was a chance, so I may just hold that to myself to see if I'm feeling confident enough to share. Otherwise, I'll share with you at a later date. But I did just
Awesome, man.
have a couple of questions I wanted to share with you related to this married life, if you don't mind, dude.
No, please, let's do it.
So you said you do your best to do a weekly date night with Skylar. Would you say that as you become married, right? Would you say that's non-negotiable as you're planning out your future together?
Yes and no. I
Yes or
think
no?
the non-negotiable part comes from spending quality time together. That means me not focused on work, her not focused on her job, just us together, no phones, no distractions, spending time with each other. I define that as quality time. That's
Yeah.
what that means to me. And whether that comes through a date night, whether it comes from just us going on a walk or even doing chores like cleaning our apartment, I think that is the most important thing for marriage. Obviously, like I don't have any experience, but someone very wise told me that you just, to be cliche, never want to stop dating. And when you're in the dating phase, if you think about it, you're intentionally trying to get to know the person to see if you like them. Um, and I think that's very important going forward for marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. In other words, you don't have to drop 200, $300 on sushi in Manhattan in order to spend quality time with your fiance and,
100%.
future wife. So I love that. And this is sort of silly, but I've heard of so many couples getting a dog before they get kids. Do you guys think that you'll do that
Oh
as
man.
well?
No, Skylar and I have both kind of decided we can't do dog hair. So
Oh
whatever
no.
dog breed we get has to be hypoallergenic.
Smart.
Um, I've always grown up around labs. I'm a huge dog person. I have two downfalls for them. One, they don't live long enough, and two, they shed way too much, and it gave me bad allergies. And so I love my dogs to death, but I think once Skylar and I get a dog, um, we definitely want one that doesn't shed. But I think we're gonna wait on the pet for a while. It's tough here in New York, but maybe once we move out of the city into like a suburb or somewhere quieter, we would think about getting a pet.
For sure. For sure. That makes total sense. But if you
Yeah.
do decide to find a hypoallergenic one, like a golden doodle or something, I
Hmm.
recommend, of course, this is up to you guys, but I recommend something that has to do with Texas, just because I'm also a fan of Texas. Like think
Right.
of a name like Maddox or Knox or something like that. I feel like that'd be cool. Come here,
Oh
Knox.
man, we've got to test your Texan one day. These are all very Texan names. I'm loving it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love the barbecue food. Yeah, no, we had a Matt and I have a new colleague from I think he's from Houston. I know he's from Texas, but I think it's Houston. And he's got similar energy to you and shout out to PK and to Ryan. So love those guys.
Awesome. Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
best. Love those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Maybe get a dog. And now the one last question I do have for the listener and also for myself too. This one was just something I really wanted to ask. You've been with Skylar for what, 2 years now?
Oh gosh, you're testing my fiance knowledge.
Oh,
Well,
sorry, I don't mean to put you on the
we will
spot.
have been together for roughly 3 years, November 27th. 3 years
Okay.
from November 27th. So I
And
think roughly 2 3/4.
top 2 3/4. Okay. Okay. That's fantastic. I mean, when I think of relationships, I'm somebody that really needs alone time. So I'm somewhere in the middle between an introvert and an extrovert. And I'm sure, the person listening to this could identify with that potentially, at least somebody. And so I find that I need some alone time in order to be better around other people. Do you, like in your experience with Skylar, um, do you find that like that is crucial in order to be a good fiance, future husband? Do you think alone time is crucial to like your success?
I think it depends on the person. For me, not necessarily. And the reason why is because whenever I'm with Skylar, it instantly recharges me. I can
Mm.
have the worst possible day at work and then come home to her and be a completely different person because that's just what she does for me. And I would encourage you and the listener, when you're looking for someone you want to date or even potentially marry, to have that person that you think does that for you. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just this feeling that you get that's indescribable, where it's like, because I used to be the same, Will. Like I needed a long time to recharge. And like whether it was after a lacrosse game or like I was just tired, having a rough day at school, whatever, I always found myself either alone playing lacrosse. Like for people who never played lacrosse, we call it hitting the wall, where you're just practicing your passes. That used to clear my head a lot. I would read a book, I would go for a walk by the lake or a run. But once I met Skylar, and for the listeners' benefit, Skylar and I were long distance our entire relationship. It was very tough.
Craay, crazy,
It's
so
a crazy
respectable.
story, and maybe we can get into that at a later date or some point on this episode. But once Skylar and I got into the worst part of long distance, when I was starting my job and she was starting hers, and we couldn't see each other for about a month or two, every day I was apart from her, I just could not help but grow more like I needed to see her every day. And that's kind of the feeling, Will, that I'm trying to get at is like once you find that person that you know you want to see every day, there's something about being with that person that helps recharge you because they get you.
Yeah.
They know you as a person, they know your tendencies, and they're there to help you.
Dude, Skylar better listen to this. You're getting so many brownie points here, but truth be told, that is such a beautiful sentiment. Okay, so for me and the listener that's not married, wait until you to get married, wait until you find somebody that you have a really hard time going a day without seeing.
I think that's true. That is
Okay,
what worked for me, and I would definitely encourage other people to try to find someone they can't live without.
okay, okay. Amazing, amazing. You did well, Skylar. So did you, Zane.
Thank you.
Now, some more context when it comes to what you get to do at JP Morgan. Obviously, we're not going to be chatting about financial advice because can't do that. This is really just a space to think out loud, and I think you're the best person to talk about this because you were, uh, pardon my lax way of describing this, but you were a weapon when it came to any financial class in grad school.
Thank you. Well,
And now you live in this world of markets and investments, and you and I have been talking about this here and there, especially in those crazy waymos in Arizona. We were talking a little bit about money here and there, but I
mhm,
did just want to take a little bit of time to talk about it in terms of its meaning, right? Not just sort of the math component of it all, but I believe we hit on this topic in Arizona. The idea that money is everything to those that don't have it, but it isn't to those that do, right? And I think a lot of us, at least speaking for myself, we come out of school thinking like, oh, what am I going to do to get a bunch of money? That would be so cool, early
mhm.
on. Um, but I feel like you and I have shared this same sentiment where we almost don't care about it as much anymore. We want to find something that speaks to us, and whether that brings us a ton of wealth or not, that's fine, as long as we enjoy what we do every single day and find that we're at least benefiting someone on that journey. Would you agree with that sentiment there, Zane?
I agree completely. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask a question in return because I'm curious.
Yeah.
What do you think the best asset to hold is? Like out of any asset, what do you think the best one would be?
Mm,
It's a very loaded question. You could take it pretty much any way you want.
that is a loaded question, and it's funny. Um, would have been my first answer, but a little while ago I would have told you my second or third answer would be a home. But this guy I've been reading his work, Robert Kiyosaki, he says your home is a liability,
Rich dad,
not
poor dad.
not an
It's a
asset. Yeah.
liability, not an asset, because your
Yeah.
outflows exceed your inflows. Yep,
Yes. So
completely agree.
I mean, I would say your greatest asset is your time, right? Because
Will, you
it's the
get an
only
A plus in my book.
it's the only thing you can't get back, brother.
A plus. That is exactly where I was going with that question.
Cool.
Um, and for the listener, I'll take Will's disclaimer earlier to another extent. I'll be using some examples for confidentiality reasons for our clients in investment banking. And I'll allude to talking about certain things for JP Morgan secrets as well. So please just try to bear with me as we navigate around that. But I have seen, Will, people that make an obscene amount of money. The amount of money that flows through New York on a daily basis would make you sick if you really went and looked up the number. It is absurd. I've seen people with no money here in New York that are infinitely happier than the people that I work with that have a lot of money. And that's the reason why I ask, like, what do you think our biggest asset is? And I would agree with you, it's time because I'll be very vulnerable with you and the listener for a minute. When I was coming out of grad school, I was just looking for whatever job could make me the most money. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. Like I knew I loved finance, as you're aware. I love the markets. A little fun fact is when we were in college, I used to day trade. So I used to trade stocks before getting into investment banking. And so I just knew I wanted something to do with finance. And then I had a mentor come along who I was very blessed to meet, who basically trained me from the ground up, not knowing anything about investment banking to getting these interviews with JP Morgan and basically catapulting through the interview process. And I got the job. And I think it's very important to realize why we work. And I think you and Matt actually talked about this on a previous episode. It's like we work because God calls us to do that. Without work, we'd become pretty empty. But like if you were to ask a lot of people why they think we work, they would say money, so we can live. And I think that's a very dangerous answer because the more you chase that money, I think the more it flees from you and the more empty you feel. Because there are a lot of people in banking who, for the listener, it's very lucrative. I'll just be very blunt, especially as you get higher up in the hierarchy. But there are people who just struggle with like seeing their family or like being happy on a daily basis that make over millions of dollars a year. And it's the craziest thing to me. It helped me realize like I would rather find more value in a job that would pay less, but allow me more freedom. And I would get to see Skylar more. I would get to be in charge of my health more. But like the the amount of hours you work in investment banking really kind of puts into perspective, like, is it all worth it? And that's a question that only you, the listener, or you will can answer for yourself. Because some people will drive themselves to the brink of insanity just to make that money. And
Right.
so I know that was a bit of a ramble. I'm sorry. I hope there were some good bits in there, but that's just my personal opinion on it.
No, I mean you hit so many of my next couple points. I mean, right? We all have this mission in life and it varies depending on, person to person, but mission has to come before profits, right? Like just like you, I
Hmm.
identify with what you said so much because, as I age, 5, 10, 15 years down the line, I would most certainly rather be there for my 5-year-old son's birthday than meet with a big name client for a 7 p.m. meeting, right? I just
100%.
I don't, want to have to make that choice. Like my son is more important than any big name client because it's my son, right? And I'm sure
100%.
I'm sure that we'll both have a chance to enjoy our son's birthdays in the future, which is such a cool thought.
Hopefully,
Oh man.
hopefully so. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to be negative because my job is very cool as well. I
Yeah.
am learning something new every day and definitely getting a very great skill set, and it's a very great learning experience. Um, but personally, I think if you look at it in that manner versus like I'm just here to make money, it's definitely you have it goes back to having more of a growth mindset. If you have that growth mindset, it's gonna make you happier in the end
Right.
rather than just chasing something that won't fulfill you. That's just
Right.
my 2 cents on the topic.
No, no, and it's incredibly well said, brother. I mean, I remember just a couple days ago, I was looking at some literature on Mark Cuban, and he was like, if I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self to not find coming out of school, to not find a job. Well, he was an entrepreneur, but telling somebody else to not find a job that's going to pay the most, but find a job that's going to allow them to learn the most. So, in other words, take less pay where you're going to learn more. And I think that's
Mhm.
brilliant, right? Because
Completely agree.
in that mindset, you're following the mission. If you follow the mission, you're going to be happy. You might be obsessed with what you get to do, and then the money will fall. And even if it doesn't, you're fine because you're doing what you enjoy. So
Completely
I
agree.
I guess I wish I was told that. I'm certainly extremely happy I know it now, but I wish a professor of mine told me that because I felt like we were all so stressed out at school to find a job that would allow us to live and pay us well. Um, but
We were young, Will, not nearly as wise, I like to say to people that are in college now, even though I'm completely joking. We still have stuff to figure out as well.
yeah,
Um, but if you don't mind, I'd like to make one last point on this topic that I feel pretty strongly about.
please.
Um, as someone, I'll be very transparent. You in this job, you will work on average roughly around 80 hours or so, depending on what kind of firm you get at, what sector you're covering, etc. I really strongly encourage the listener and you will to really consider why do we do the things that we do for money? Like what makes it worth it? Is it for freedom? Is it to buy a cool watch you were wanting? This kind of goes back to what I was trying to say, and it's like I think you want to own your own time. If I
Right.
had to summarize everything I said earlier, I would say the biggest point is own your own time.
Hmm.
Because I think most rational people's goal in life with money is to buy their own time. You want the freedom to be able to do whatever you want. And it just begs the question of if you're chasing that money too heavily, are you truly in charge of your own time or is the money dictating your schedule? So just something to kind of think about rhetorically. But I think it's best to find a balance of chasing those skills or a business that you're building or a business you'd like to run one day. And then, like you said, Will, beautifully, the money will come as a side product.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, I was actually talking to Clyde about 30 minutes ago, our good friend from college as well. And it's
Shout
like
out Clyde.
from Robert Kiyosaki, you got to learn how to make money work for you as opposed to spending your life working for money. As you said, it's dangerous to think, why do you have your job? Just so I can have money, which is an element of it. We all need, some capital in order to pay rent, put gas in the
For
car,
sure.
et cetera, et cetera. But you got to enjoy what we do. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. And we say
I
that life
could
is
not
short all the
agree more.
time, as it's an incredible cliche, but it is true. I mean, doesn't it feel like yesterday? I mean, Zane, I went to high school 3 minutes down the road. Feels like yesterday I was there. Yesterday was 2019, but that was 6 years ago, right?
Isn't that crazy?
I got a beard on my face right now. What in the world happened? It's like, I was like, what is going on? So, in essence, it seems easy to overcomplicate in investing and finding a job and money and everything like that. But I feel like it's rather simple. You just got to figure out what it is you like to do more of that, and not worry so much about what's in the bank account. Protect your assets, right? Um, Save more than you spend, and we'll go from there. Um,
People will really try to overcomplicate it to sound smart, is my personal opinion. And I
yeah.
think you and Matt actually covered this in it's one of the very first episodes, the idea of compounding.
Yes.
And I think a book recommendation that really kind of changed my trajectory was something called The Compound Effect. I think
Mhm.
it was by a guy named Darren Hardy. I'd have to double check the author's name, but it's one of those self-improvement books that kind of talks about the effort of small steps and how exponentially you will improve over time. You may feel like you're plateauing at certain points, but if you keep on taking those small steps, those daily wins, if you're getting 1% or even heck, half a percent better every day, think like where you'll be at 5, 10 years down the line.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And you were totally right. Darren Hardy is the name of it. And
That's
because
right.
you shared that one, I'm actually going to type that one in. Or no, I have some paper right here. I'm going to write that down. But Matt actually started reading this other book. It's called 10x is better than 2x. And I actually have
Interesting.
on my computer, I can pull it up. It's by Dan Sullivan, founder of Strategic Coach with Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Something you might like.
Okay,
It's
cool.
it's a
Yeah.
blue cover with yellow and gray words. And tip for using and for the listener. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a Kindle by chance?
I had one when I was a kid, but I ended up playing too many games on it and not reading enough books. So I switched back to the old-fashioned hard copy.
Okay. No worries on that whatsoever. But the reason I bring this up, Zambi, is because a Kindle is a cheat code. It's $100, and by the time, let's say you have a Kindle, you have $100, and then you go out and you buy three, 4 books. That's equivalent to $100. So you buy five books using the Kindle, you've already made your investment back in essence. And Madison from Dallas, but in Arizona, told me about this website called Anna's Archive, where you can get any book, free PDF, and then just send it to your Kindle. And that's how I got
Wow,
10x is better than 2x.
that is crazy. What did you say the website was called?
Called Anna's Archive. I
Anna's
can
Archive.
I
Okay,
can
I'll
I'll
have to
write
look into that.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is super interesting. Just for the listeners' clarity, Madison is my fiance Skylar's maid of honor, or I guess technically matron of honor because she's married. Um,
Oh, dang.
and Will was referring to the bachelor trip in Arizona where we did a joint bachelorette party. Was a good time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, literally exactly what I would like to have for my own bachelor party. Wholesome, people are up early, just, in Arizona before it gets too hot, reading books. Ryan was reading the Bible. I was like, this is what I want. Just like you had. Some people want Vegas, some people want, I don't know, um, big golf vacation Canada, something like that. I just want wholesome like that. That was so, so cool. Um,
Yeah.
well,
And I
great.
know I don't want to derail us, Will, but I think a topic that we could potentially discuss that's maybe a little off script is surrounding yourself with the right people. And just for time reasons, we can maybe get into this at a later date, but I think it's very important for your personal and your career growth to surround yourself with like-minded people like that. And if you don't have those people and you're surrounded by people that maybe you don't want to be like that are going out partying on the weekends, not talking about future goals, if you want to do that sort of thing, that's totally up to you. And that's totally fine if that's what you want. But if you want growth, if you want to learn more, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people. So just a super quick thought on that is something that's been helpful for me.
100%. And I felt so good. Thank you again for Arizona. I felt so good leaving there
Oh,
because
dude,
I know
my pleasure.
it was good for me because I know that I'm just the average of the five people I spend the most time with. And you see, for the listener, I'm so happy, Zane, you're here because you're teaching me, and I got notes. This bright pink notepad is keeping me company, as are you. Um, and I actually have a few things jotted down on this similar topic as money relates to happiness, and I think you might find them interesting, right? So
Yeah.
money can buy us a lot of things. But the most beautiful things in life are those that money cannot buy, right? It cannot buy a healthy marriage between you and the lovely Miss Schuyler. You cannot buy kids, your future kids that look up to you, or your present kids, for the listener. Can't buy that, right? You can try to buy them their favorite toy. You can try to buy them a car for their 16th birthday, but it's not going to make them look up to you, right? That has no monetary value associated with it, right? And two, or number three, fulfillment that lasts beyond applause, if you will, right?
Hmm.
What did I mean by that? I forget. Apologize. But the last one there is money cannot buy you peace of mind at 3 a.m. And what I meant by that was having good people in your corner that you could call at 3 a.m., right? Let's say God forbid, there's a fire in the back of your home, right? And let's say you became really good friends with your neighbor. That person is going to come over and help you out because they like you, and you can't buy that. So I just thought that that was cool, and I thought you might appreciate hearing that, brother.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Will. Let me try to give you an assist with this fulfillment beyond applause point.
Yeah,
I
please.
think maybe the point there is trying not to get not to become better or work towards your goals for recognition, but rather because it's what you want to do. And it's something that would not please anyone else besides yourself. And I think the only people that we really need to please are ourselves and our Lord Jesus. I
Did
think
somebody say amen? That was fantastic. Please keep
I
going.
thought I heard
Please.
that, but it might be just the New York traffic out my window.
Is Skylar in
Um,
there? Skylar?
Skylar's at a workout class right now, but she
Okay.
would definitely agree. Um, I do think if you start to live that way, and like this is something transparently that I struggle with, is caring about what other people think. But if you only care about like what your significant other, yourself, and what God thinks of you, I can't imagine a more peaceful way to live, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, like you only need to please those people.
100%, right? And that makes life a whole lot simpler, doesn't it?
No doubt in my mind, that makes life way simpler.
Yeah. I wish I'm so glad I'm hearing this now, but I wish somebody went back in time, or even myself went back in time, even like 5 years ago, and was like, well, don't you dare try to get anybody else to like you. Don't you dare try to impress anybody other than yourself. I think that would have avoided a lot of stress for that younger Will, and maybe even younger Zane. I don't
I
know.
am right there with you, brother. Do not worry.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. I mean, I have your at some point, Zane, money stops solving problems and starts revealing who you truly are. Right? And I've come to realize, and I was thinking about this before we started, it's like if your name was JP Morgan, and you owned all these branches that you mentioned, Dallas, New York, LA, right? I have a feeling you would be the pinnacle of this idea to treat everybody the same, regardless of title or which floor they work on or occupation, right? You would treat the janitor as if, he were, your dad, right? Your
Mhm.
predecessor, right? Which is just a phenomenal way to live. And, you know, Oh, I just love that. And I think we truly do need more people like yourself. I said that in one of those little wedding activities we did in Arizona. Maybe you knew it was me when I said it, but I said we need more people like yourself in the world, Zane. And I meant that. And I figured a few more people should know. So
Thank
now
you,
you know,
Will. Well,
listener.
great minds think alike, and I think we need a lot more people like you and like Matt. And on behalf of the listener, I think I can speak for all of us saying you guys through what is this, episode 21 that we're recording?
Yes, yes, it
Through
is.
20 episodes, you guys have provided incredible value. So really love and appreciate everything you guys are saying because it's definitely been applicable to my life and hopefully every other listener's lives. So thank you for not only having me, but for continuing to provide great value.
Dude, Zane, of course. Thank you for being here. This entire conversation was incredibly rich, makes me feel wholesome and fulfilled, truly. So from personal to the professional, you being here truly brought out the substance in you. You've represented your humility and the wisdom that you've already garnered throughout your fairly short time on this earth. But Matt will definitely have thoughts when he hears this episode, and we'll be sure to share those with you. I took down a couple of those questions, well, all of them really that you shared, and I sent them over to Matt. So I'll I'll uh, I'll have those at the ready next time we get a chance to chat with him, you and I both. But so for everybody listening, yes, building wealth is a worthwhile goal, but building wisdom is the real investment. Learning as much as possible about people, about what interests you, that sort of thing. And, everything that Zane and I have gone over today, everything that Matt and I have gone over the last 20 episodes is truly all about developing yourself into being the kind of person your future self will thank you for becoming. So, in the future, we hope to have Zane here again and more lovely people like him. So, thank you so much for listening. And Zane, thank you so much, man, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Will. Super happy, super blessed to be here. And I am a huge, huge finance nerd, as you know, knowing me over these years. So happy to discuss whenever and happy to get technical too if you and I want to have a conversation off air or if you are so graciously willing to have me back here, we can dive more deeper into finance.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. There's no quote of the day here for you, listener, but I think one of the things that Zane and I talked about will be sufficient. Go out into the world for the rest of today, tomorrow, the rest of the week, the month, and just impress yourself. Don't worry about what other people think because that's none of your business. Just impress yourself. I think Zane does a nice job of that. So we'll go with that. And have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on
Thank you,
Silent
Will.
Service.